everyone, this is Professor Benjamin, and I am reaching out because a lot of you are still struggling with your project. I have given you comments back to your project part 2 that was supposed to be submitted by last night, 11:59. I've made extensive comments on all your papers, and I definitely have some frustrations. Number one is I can tell a lot of you did not watch this video, so I uploaded a video here to your announcements, and you can see I uploaded this on March 25th. I also included this video right under the homework portal, and it looks as if a lot of you just were rushing to get the work done, of course, and you just didn't do it right. So you did not submit, look at this, you didn't do the work. You didn't, and I have it here, and you just didn't look at the video. You're not reading your announcements. You're just not doing the basic things in this class in order to succeed. And I know we're in online format, and many of you, this is your first time, but in this class we've been submitting things in online format the entire semester. So not much has changed in this class in terms of submittals for this semester. So I want to take you through and show you an example of someone's. I've taken their name off of it, but I'm going to use it as an example to show you what is going wrong with your projects. Number one, go back and watch the video that I made, and you can find that video under the announcement section. So I sent out an announcement and I said, here's video help, and a lot of you failed to do that. And then if you click here, this was the homework that was due. Number one, draft. It didn't say answer the questions. It said draft 3 questions and 2 charts, meaning 2 of the tables like we've been working on all semester. You draft them, correct? That you would like to use when analyzing the data set that you had selected in part 1. And I went through in the video and told you about issues with data sets. So a lot of you still used wrong data sets that were already analyzed, that already had the data in them, and you just kept the same stuff. You didn't even edit what you submitted, which is very frustrating, especially for me, who's going through and regrading all of this stuff, okay? And then you had to include the data Excel sheet, okay? And in here, it was supposed to be titled properly as per the video, and a lot of you didn't do that, so I have no idea what your data is about, okay? So I want to show you an example of a data set. So I'm going to show you right now. This was what someone submitted to me, and I had just a couple issues with it, and I'm going to explain why. So first of all, the individual answered the questions, which didn't need to happen. It said draft the questions, because in the homework that's due this week, you're going to answer the questions, and you're actually going to write a significant portion with the questions, and I'm going to go over that next. So right here, how many shootings were at the workplace? So I assume it says mass shooting data set. So I have a couple questions already, because then it says how many people were males were killed versus women killed. I don't know why this matters in terms of shootings in the workplace. And I'm just confused by the whole thing. So there were 38 overall shootings at the workplace. And then down here it says that there was 113 number of women killed was 3, and there were 113 men. So the data set said that this was like since 1982. That is like not a lot of. That's 116 people killed since 1982 in, I don't know if it's mass shootings or I don't know if it's workplace shootings. I'm so confused by a lot of this because it's just really confusing, because then we go down here and now we've switched to mass shootings, and there's been 100 mass shootings, and these are the deaths for what? For mass shootings, for workplace shootings. I'm not sure what this data is showing, and that's where a lot of you went wrong. Was that the ultimate purpose of this is for you to draft 3 questions that you really want to answer using the data from the charts to help you answer all of those questions, okay? So they're supplemental, or what you would say is kind of, these are your main questions, and then these are your subset questions that will help you answer those questions, okay? So for example, maybe many shootings were at the workplace, okay? So this should say workplace shooting or mass shooting. I'm so confused with the data all in general. And So the first thing you would have to do is find this answer, is open up the Excel sheet and then go to formulas and click count if for workplace. Okay, so this is workplace shooting, okay? And if it's workplace shooting, that's great. But what are we trying to prove by workplace shootings? And there was only 38 of them. So if there's only been 38 workplace shootings since 1982, what recommendations are we really going to give to law enforcement? I mean, not that much, because if there's only been 38 since 1982, is that something that, I don't know. Maybe if a significant amount of people were killed in workplace shootings, who are the people who killed during workplace shootings? What are they? How are you going to give recommendations to police on how they can change their behaviors, or how they can beef up or scale back in specific areas with this data? I'm not sure. And then we said how many males versus women were killed. Is this in workplace shootings or is this in mass shootings? So you need to be more specific. And if you're going to be that, then maybe there are more women killed in workplace shootings than men, because sometimes they're domestic. I don't know. And so that's where the issue is. And this number just seems off. In general, maybe your data's off. I'm not sure where your data is. I think this data came from Mother Jones, which is not a really sound website, so I don't know where the data came from. Is it skewed data? Is the data purposely made? Who made the data? So I have a lot of questions about the data. And then here, how many were mass shootings? How many were mass shootings? So how many of the mass shootings were mass shootings? I don't know. And what does mass shooting mean? How many people have to die for it to be considered a mass shooting? So there's a lot of questions here, and hopefully you're understanding from this video what the issues are in terms of the shootings, and what is the percentage of shootings located at schools. Is this mass shooting? So we're jumping from workplace to mass shootings. I want you to have one cohesive idea for your paper and for your recommendations to police. And so as you can see from this, it's all over the place, and I'm not sure where this individual is headed. What questions do they really want to answer from this? So it's not just here it is, here's the data. The data has to tell you something, right? And so a lot of you are just going through this exercise and you're just looking at the data and saying, oh, I'll just answer this question. And it's not cohesive. It's not starting at one end and ending at a finish line. It's just kind of all over the place, because that's just like, oh, well, I'll just do this and this and this, and I'll just show what races, and then I'll just show what ages, and I'll just show this, and I'll show this, and then none of it really answers any question in particular. So the whole objective of the assignment is for you to answer questions to law enforcement about specific things from your data, and they should be cohesive in nature. All right, so I want to briefly show you what the next part of your assignment is. So now you're supposed to take this information and you're supposed to go to this weekend. Part 3 is due. And without cohesive lines, you're not going to be able to move to this part, because you just haven't been cohesive enough. So the directions for this part is I'm asking you to read directions, because a lot of you are not reading directions. And then I say, for your homework this week, please upload a one-page document that provides answers for the questions you drafted in part 2. And this is why they should be cohesive questions, with the charts to help you analyze those cohesive questions. An example of how to answer the questions is below, which is way down here. The one-page document needs to be 12 New Times Roman font, single-spaced, with sources, because you need sources to help you answer the questions that you have proposed. Okay, so you need examples and factual basis to back it up. So you need one full page. This means one full page. This is huge. You're going to have a lot to answer. So the 3 questions you picked need to be able to answered in about 1/3 of a page, single spaced, which is a huge answer. I'm talking that each one of your answers probably is 2 or 3 paragraphs in length. So you need to make sure that your questions that you're asking are able to be answered in super long detail. Okay? So you need at least 2 sources, and your sources do not count in your one full page. Also, You'll see here at the top of your page, you will include a brief description of your data. Be sure to include the title of the data, the date range of the data, and other information that is needed for the viewer to understand what your data is about. And this has been a huge problem for me because a lot of you did not label your data properly. Also include the source of your data. So I actually need the full source where you got your data in proper MLA formatting with the web link on where you got your data from. Okay, and here's an example of what I'm looking for in terms of the description of your data. Then you'll answer the 3 questions. Also, I do not need any header information. So I don't need your name, I don't need the date, I don't need what class this is, none of it. I want you to have the paragraph description of your data set with the source, the first thing, and then I want your 3 questions answered on the rest of the page. I don't need 4 or 5 or 6 lines with your name, what date it is, what classroom, because Canvas collects all of that data. Okay? If you have any questions, reach out before Sunday. Okay? I will not be available on Sunday, so please reach out before Sunday if you have any questions on what is required to be submitted on Sunday by 11:59. I give you an example of what I'm looking for in terms of what I want in the definition of the data, and I give you an example here of what a paragraph, how basically it should be structured, but it should be at least 1, 2, 3 paragraphs answering the question under each question. So that's why the questions are super important. Okay, I look forward to your submittals, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.